So, one thing I really like to harp on when working with students is this idea of a parallel plan. So, I worked at a university where students came there, a lot of students came there, especially to study forensic science. Now, forensic science is a program that got really, really popular because of things like CSI, forensic files. So, the time that I was working at the university for 5 years, so many students came in and said this is what they wanted to do. Now, if you asked a student what they would be doing day to day, they saw themselves zipping down Miami, pulling over people, cuffing them, doing some cool, interviews with people that they thought might be like a person who committed a particular crime. And so they had a really different understanding of what the major actually entailed. What it really is a science degree. And even though it says that, it doesn't always show that in TV and media. And so students, when they got to that particular university that I worked at, let me tell you their first year schedule. Their first semester, they took Calculus 1, they took chemistry, they took biology, they took English, and they took introductory course to forensic science. A lot of them had no idea that they would be in the lab almost all day. These are social people. They wanted to be like the actors and what the actors portrayed. But TV sells, and probably showcasing someone in a lab for a very long time may not have made it appealing. And so guess what? After that chemistry class, after the biology class, after they learned from guest speakers from their introductory course, they realized they wanted to change their major. So another group of students came into the university, and unfortunately, because the program was so popular, we only took, let's say, around 100 first-year students a year. And even though students knew they didn't get into the program, they had a lot of high hopes. And so they say, you know what, we're still going to go to the university, and we're going to try to get into the program our sophomore year. And a lot of students, unfortunately, didn't make the opportunity to do so. And so when I would meet with these particular students, I would always tell them, hey, what is your goal? And they would say, I want to be a forensic scientist. I say, okay, great. You can totally do that without a forensic science degree. You want to know why? And they would say, why? And I would say, well, about 20 years ago, there was actually no bachelor's degree called forensic science. It's a new phenomenon, but there's been forensic scientists out for a very long time. So let's do an activity. I would always tell them to go find their favorite forensic scientist, and usually it would be someone like Henry C. Lee. And I would say, what was his bachelor's degree in? What was his master's degree in? What was his PhD in? And all of them would come back and they would say, depending on who their hero was of the field of forensic science, they would say, oh, it's biology or chemistry. And I'm like, yeah. So guess what you can do? You can study chemistry or biology, depending on the pathway you want to go in forensic science, and you can actually still become a forensic scientist. So for some of you, you might end up at a university because of cost, and it might not have the premier program that you're looking for, or you might have to design or think outside the box, but always think about a parallel plan. Just like two railroad tracks, they're all going the same way. And so what are some pathways that can take you to your end goal? It might not always be getting a bachelor's degree in forensic science, but guess what? Most of the people that will hire you, depending on their age, they don't have a degree in forensic science either. They probably have a degree in chemistry or biology. So if you want to study kinesiology, and there's no kinesiology, which is kind of the study of sports science at your school, okay, maybe you pick up a major in like exercise science and a minor in sports psychology. Boom. You look at the academic worksheets for that major of kinesiology, which has become like a premier major, you're probably going to be taking the same courses. So don't get so caught up in what your major is going to be. Remember, it's just a starting point, and you're trying to get skills that will help you in the future.